So the judge sitting there was also well-read one. He said, I am not punishing the enlivening factor, but I am just punishing the enveloping matter. Now, all the matter that we see, experience, are either classified into the sentient or the insentient. In the insentient, you see existential reality supporting it. In the sentient, along with the existential reality, there is a support of the conscious and blissful aspects also. There are certain aspects of that Paramatma which are revealed in the sentient, which are not revealed in the insentient. But both of them seemingly come into existence and seemingly go away from existence in the presence of Atma. Why do we have dreams? One straight simple answer: because you are still alive. Right? A dead person probably did not have a dream. Similarly, this waking world is perceived by that individuality, but in reality it is the substratum that is upholding it. The moment we wake up from it, what we see is not the worldliness, but it is just the divine conscious principle throbbing all around. If it is too confusing in the Vedantic terms, a simple way of looking at it is, every single particle that we see here, do we see it as matter or do we see it as divine? If we see it as matter, we are still in the dream state. If we see it as divine, we have been awakened. Does that make easy sense? Okay. At least majority heads were shaking. I don't know if it were yes or a no, but at least majority of them were shaking. I'll assume it is yes and move forward. So further clarifying onto this Atma Tattva in the 20th mantra, a very famous one, often quoted, famous because whether it is Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, many schools of thoughts of philosophy quote this mantra. Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan, mahato mahiyan, atmasya jantor nihito guhayam, tamakratuh pashyati vita shokaha, pashyati vita shokaha, dhatuh prasadan mahimanam anoraniyan mahato mahiyan. Anoho aniyan. The Vaisheshikas, Kanada's Vaisheshika Shastra, it talks about Anu being atom, Paramanu, subatomic particle, Ati Paramanu, Ati Paramanu, the smallest particle, which has a very dicey nature in its existence. So, this is our Vaisheshika standpoint. And what is their standpoint? That this entire creation and beings and everything happened because of certain situational pressures, that all these Ati Paramanus, Paramanus and Anu, they came together and then came out this world. Something similar to the Big Bang. And the example they give is very beautiful. They said, what is the beetle leaf's color? Green. What is the beetle nut's color? Brown, dark brown. What is the calcium? Lime, tuna? White. Sometimes they make it pink, but it is actually white. Each one has their distinct properties. Appropriate tuna, or if you add more, something else will be swollen. Appropriate tuna. Appropriate to your taste, the flavored beetle nut into the beetle leaf, and then you put it in your mouth. You chew on it. And what is the color that is born? It is a red color. Why? Three different materials coming together with a different environment, it produced the red color. Similarly, all these elements came together and out came the world. So, in the ancient times, when they talked about Anu, Paramanu, they had a pretty good concept of what the Vaisheshikas speak. Anoho Aniyan, subtler than the subtlest particle that can be researched into. Or it can also mean smaller than the smallest particle that we have ever researched into. Anoho Aniyan. One concept you give, we understand, it is fine. Immediately there seems to be a contradiction. Mahato Mahiyan. It is bigger than the biggest. Wait a second. You say on one side it is smaller than the smallest, and immediately you say in the same breath that it is bigger than the biggest. Pause. Decide one thing. Is it big or small? It is that subtle that it can accommodate to be the subtler than the subtlest, and it can accommodate itself being bigger than the biggest. Why go till Atma Tattva? Space, the fifth element, subtlest of the elements. It is there in the small space of the eye of the needle. Have you ever tried threading a needle? Such a fiasco. So, first you have to take that thread, and you know you cannot, so you apply little moisture. From where? I am not getting into it. So, you apply some moisture and then thread it in such a way that there is a sharp edge standing out, and then wear your gadget. glasses. Hold it against the light. Hold what? The needle. And then the Adhyatma Yoga. You have to almost become one with the hole there, because you cannot see it right now. So you adjust the focal length. Here I can see it. And then charge it with the thread pointed towards it. And you almost feel it has gone through. And you leave it at this end, quickly catch it at the other end, the thread has fallen. Why? It has never made through. Now that small little gap, the thread can enter through it because there is space there. Smaller than the smallest. And the entire universe is housed in the space. So space is something which is bigger than the biggest. If space itself can reflect these qualities of Anu and Mahat, that which is giving validity of existence to that space, how subtle has it to be and how great that it has to be. Anoho aniyan mahato mahiyan. Where is this? Jantoho nihitam guhayam. See, some religions believe that the soul is there only in human beings. Rest of the creatures don't have souls. The first time I read this concept, it was very difficult to digest that concept. And probably that is why there is a usage, soulless creature. Because the other creatures don't have soul, it's only the human beings have. But here he says, Jantoho, all creatures are enlivened, and this enlivening principle seats itself as though, if you could imagine its seat, its throne on which it presides. Where is it? Nihitam guhayam. It's in the guhashaya, it is in the cave of the heart, not the pumping heart. The pumping heart, there is no cave. It has been well thorough researched area. If there is a cave, then you have to cave in. There is no other way. But what guha there are they talking about? What hridaya griha there are they talking about? It is right in the center, right where your ribs part to accommodate two lungs, right there. And if you want to have a pinpointed coordinates, it's very simple. When somebody that you love, when somebody that you really care about is parting away from you, knowing that for next few years you will not be able to see them, where do you feel the heaviness? You feel heaviness or not? I am assuming things. Do? Okay. Where do you feel it? Here? Here? No. Somewhere here. Exactly, that is the coordinate of this Hridaya Guha. In that Hridaya Guha is where this Atman residing. Address given. Go search. But it is so subtle that even our organs of perception, action and intellectualization cannot get in there. But who sees it? If you are given the address, you should also tell me the means to reach there. Try it sometimes in your Google Maps. From address is Dallas address. To address is anywhere in Europe. It says to go till New York and then swim these many thousands of miles in this direction, and probably you will reach. You have given the coordinates, you should also tell the means to reach. So, the means he says here, tam akratuhu pashyati vitashokaha dhatu prasadan mahimanam atmanaha. That he who has freed his antahkarana to become akratuhu. Akratuhu, neither does he will something nor wish something. Swamiji, what vegetative state is it? It's only when somebody is deep in sleep or in coma. Did I tell you why it is called coma? But it is a comma just before a period, full pause. In these two states alone, then I can imagine myself either not wishing for something or willing for something. Wish and will. Wish is of the mind, will is of the intellect. When we have transcended both the mind and the intellect, akratuhu, such one alone, that means the one who has acquired substantial depth of a subtle intellect to see this through, to not just hear it and assimilate it as data, that data being transformed into experience, that subtlety with which we can transcend both this mind and intellect. Then such person becomes vitashokaha. Vitashokaha, no sorrow can touch them, no misery can taunt them. Such is that beautiful state. And continuing on this great truth, he says, Asino duram vrajati, Asino duram vrajati, Shayano yati sarvataha, Kastam madamadam devam, Madanyo jnatum arhati. So, this Nachiketa had asked such a strong question, and what was his clause? Yat pasyasi tat vada. Whatever is your experience, that which you are abiding in, tell me that. So, here our Yamaraja, he says, Madanyo jnatum arhati. This is what I have strived for in this Atma Vidya, and hence therefore, having reached that subtlety of intellect, I have understood it as what? Asinaha duram vrajati. And to understand this concept, it's very simple. With regards to our body, where is the starting point and where is the end point? Head to toe or toe to head? What is the generic belief? Head to toe. The moment you say that, I am from head to toe, there is a flaw in logic. I will tell you what is the flaw. When you say that I am travelling from my house to Saket, which means at that moment when I start from home, I am not yet at Saket. Not confusing, right? Very simple. And now that I am here at Saket, I am definitely not at my home. If you are here, you are not there. If you are there, you are not here. Point taken? There is no catch, there is a simple logic. When you say head to toe, tell me that exact moment when you start at your head. I will puncture your toe. Because you are not yet there, you should not feel anything. But aren't you there both simultaneously? So can there be a starting point and an end point? With regards to body, do you not have experience that you can feel the cold breeze of the vent on one side and feel the mosquito bite on the other side, both at the same time? Why? With respect to body, I am all pervasive. I am not saying that the body is all pervasive. Some bodies may be like that. With respect to body, within the body, I am all pervasive. Similarly, this conscious principle stands all by itself with nothing to be a second to it. Meaning, there is nothing other than this vastu, which is called consciousness. So, if this entire seen and unseen world is pervaded by that consciousness, it is at this moment here as well as anywhere else, isn't it? Asinaha duram vrajati. Staying here, it pervades everything. Yati sarvataha. It travels everywhere as though. I like Adi Shankara Bhashya here. He stresses it enough. He says, Iva Shabdataha. Iva Shabdataha, as though travels, as though moves around, but does not. Because other than that consciousness, there is nothing else which exists. Kastam madamadam madanyo jnatum arhati. See, sometimes people misinterpret this. He says, how can such a boastful person be a teacher? He says, nobody other than me could have realized it. What he means is that subtlety of intellect, when prepared alone, can realize it. Kastam madamadam. That which is a substratum for all rejoicing is the very nature of rejoicing, meaning it is the nature of bliss. Yes, you could say that you rejoice that nature, but you can rejoice something which is sugar. But when you become sugar, when you become that happiness, there is no more rejoicing either. Madam amadam, enjoying but not enjoying it. The very funny state. And he says this is definitely higher than the little happiness or joy that we seek in this world. And continuing his experience, he says, Ashariram sharireshu anavastheshvavasthitam Mahantam vibhumatmanam matva dhiro na shochati. Is the same concept being reiterated in different formats, so that there is abhyasa. It says ashariram sharireshu, resides as though within all the matter, but does not get contaminated by any nature of that matter by becoming that matter. When the electricity comes through the bulbs, we get light. Some of them have bright light, some of them have dim light. Is it because of the electricity? No. It is because of the equipment, first thing. Second, when the electricity passes through, blessing that bulb, it comes out as illumination. Is electricity equivalent to illumination? No. Illumination is not the quality of electricity. It is the quality of the equipment alone. It goes through these bodies, bulb bodies, but it remains without the contamination of anything that has to do with the equipment. Similarly, another beautiful example here, only from the standpoint of being a substratum, is a screen on which you are projecting a rainy season, and there are potholes, there are cars rushing by, the water splashing. All this is projected on the screen. After the projection is done, do you need to take Tide or some detergent agent and go there and wipe the screen out? Not necessary, because it is not contaminated by it, it just supports, as though that also. Because one sentence we already said that what you are seeing is not real, but seemingly appears real because it is supporting it. If it is not real, how can it support? That is why Adi Shankara insistently uses the word iva shabdataha, as though supporting it. His bhashya is amazing. He never uses a single word which is more than required, never uses something which is under required. Wherever required, he says iva shabdataha. And he says anavastheshu avasthitam. Among all the perishables, he is the imperishable substratum supporting that form of existence until then. Thus, having experienced it, started with the Omkara. Omkara leads to this Atma Tattva, whereas this Atma Tattva, Paramatma and Omkara are not different. But having realized it in day-to-day life, that individual interacts with the world but not get contaminated by it by becoming worldly. Matva dhiraha na shochati. Dhira, the one endowed with patience. Na shochati, does not think. That is from Hindi, sochna. But what here means, shoka is a root word. Does not grieve, does not feel sorrow. So now Nachiketa is, How do I get that? You have told me your experience. Now I firmly believe that that state is. How do I get there? So here our Yamaraja says, Nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaishavrunute tena labhyaha tasyaisha atma vimrunute tanum swam. So first thing Yama says, na ayam atma pravachanena labhyaha. So if you thought by sitting here at this moment, all of you will get Atma Tattva, sorry to disappoint you. You ain't getting nothing. Or you have been duping us. You are making a fool out of us. There is nothing that pravachanena na labhyaha. By speaking on this, you do not reach this Atma Tattva. Na ayam atma pravachanena labhyaha. With speech you cannot reach. Oh, that was a good rhyme. Na medhaya. And there are people who go to the other extreme. They will memorize everything. They will memorize speeches, they will memorize the entire content. I know of a very sincere study group member back in Vijayawada. He has these first prints of entire Chinmaya Mission books. And he has gone through each book so many times that when he speaks or when he talks about a certain shloka or concept, he can tell the audience what page number, which paragraph, what concept Gurudev has used. There are some of them that I have met, amazing capacity. They remember the entire Mahabharata. What big deal, you may ask? Because they just remember only 100,000 shlokas. The entire Mahabharata. And they can, the snap of their finger, refer to the entire Mahabharata, which segment, what shloka, what number of shloka, how many times what word has been used, back and forth. Medha. Amazing intelligence. There are some of great people that I have met who remember not just the Itihasa, meaning Ramayana, Mahabharata. They remember Ashtadasha Purana. They remember on their fingertips all the 4 Vedas. I have at least met 3 or 4 of them like that. And one of them is a great Mahatma that I met. You know what he said? It is by mistake I remember all of them. Because the final experience has nothing to do with what I remember. The memory that I carry now of all the scriptures, as simple as sitting in a chair, fall down and my head hits somewhere, it's all gone. But that experience of Supreme that I have, anything happening to this matter, that experience will never shatter. Na medhaya. Na bahuna shrutena. Maybe, this Swami in Chinmaya Mission, what he is speaking, I don't understand. A new Swami coming in the market, so go listen to them. Or somebody else, new technique, new process. patented process. No Rishi ever patented his method. And the so-called spiritualists have a patented method. How many ever do you try to listen? It does not depend on that. What does it depend on? Very beautiful statement, worthy to remember. Yam yesha eva vrunute tena labhyaha. There are two meanings to it. Yam sadhakaha yesha eva vrunute. When that sadhaka has got such pinpointed focus that he desires nothing other than only this. And we have to reach to that maturity. Very few can reach to that maturity. But until we reach to that mature level wherein I seek this and this alone but nothing else, to such one, Atma vivrunate tanum swam, the self reveals unto such person. Second meaning, when the Jiva prepares himself with such thoroughness, then the Atma will choose them, that Paramatma will choose them to reveal itself unto them. Either ways, whether you prepare yourself to choose that or that Paramatma chooses you. Because even within Advaita Vedanta, there are strong arguments on both sides. Personally, to my mindset, I think it is definitely our responsibility to prepare ourselves to reach to that mature level wherein that Paramatma reveals unto us. What is the preparation? The preparation is given in the 24th mantra. A very simple mantra, 4 lines, but you can write it down in your diaries. For the rest of your life, what is the sadhana that you have to do? 4 simple lines. Memorize it. You will not get Atma Tattva, but at least you will get guidance, a beacon of light as to what process that you have to apply for the rest of your life. And what is it? Na virato dushcharitan, na shanto na samahitaha, na shanta manaso vapi, prajnanenainamapnuyat. Here, what kind of a person cannot get the Atma is said. Remove that na. That becomes our immediate process of acquiring that Atma. What is the first thing that we have to do? Very simple instruction, a very beautiful instruction. Avirataha duscharitan. Consciously withdraw from all kinds of bad conduct. Withdraw from that consciously. All kinds of bad conduct. Avirataha duscharitan. It is not to be left on prarabdha whenever it happens. Consciously we have to put forth effort to withdraw. Second, Shanta manasaha samahitaha. That our mind our entire system has to be withdrawn into its peaceful nature. Presently, how are our indriyas? Our indriyas are extrovert. Discipline all of them. To withdraw from all the bad conduct, you have to nourish the intellect with right thought. And Gurudev uses a beautiful word. He says, let the intellect follow the nishtha of satyam. To withdraw from the worldliness, let the organs of perception action be disciplined under brahmacharya. Don't get threatened. Brahmacharya here does not necessarily mean celibacy. When you say celibate, it is just with regards to one organ of action. But here brahmacharya takes a different stroke of understanding. Every single organ of perception and action, bring them back samahitaha, into balance. Use the organs of perception and action in appropriate environment. When not required, withdraw completely. Samahitaha. That is the brahmacharya, the discipline at the physical level. Satyam at the intellectual level. Shanta manasaha vapi prajnanenainam apnuyat. And at the emotional level, at our interaction level, to have complete ahimsa. Not injuring anything, anybody, even in thought, word or deed. Satyam, brahmacharya, ahimsa cha. If these three are written down as our sadhana, with brahmacharya, what was the meaning? To have the organs of perception action in perfect balance. Satyam, to have the conviction, to be not drawn to any kind of duscharita, and in its application have total ahimsa. The 24th mantra has the sadhana highlighted. Now, who has to perform this sadhana? Us. To reach the status of Nachiketas. To become a sincere seeker. After we do these 3 steps, we become seekers. Until then, pseudo seekers. And then final word of warning. I know I am taking 6 minutes extra, but this last mantra. Yasya brahma cha kshatrancha ubhe bhavata odanaha mrityur yasyopasechanam ka Itha veda yatra saha. He says, by practicing these 3 disciplines in life, you would acquire the dhiratva, the patience required. You would acquire that, because to reach to that Paramatma, to whom the best of this universe is like a meals to digest, odanam, and I, the lord of death, is like his upasechanam, pickle. It seems to be too dramatic. What he means to say there is, to that Paramatma, to reach to that Paramatma, getting beyond identification of names and forms of the worldliness is required. And in order to get there, what are the three disciplines that we require to follow? Satyam, Brahmacharya, Ahimsa. Iti Prathamadhyaye Dvitiya Valli. So, he has given the pitch for us to prepare ourselves to be a good seeker. And through Nachiketa's life, wherein he has not fallen prey to Kamini, Kanchana, Kirti, and such sharp intellect that you would see in his questioning. So, once we acquire that, then the Atma Tattva will be revealed unto us. Yam eva esha vrunute tena labhyaha. So, here we conclude the first of the series of this Kathopanishad. I think next month when we continue, we will see the other vallis. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyat